crust of puff pastry cradling a fat blip of caviar. He would have smacked my hand away. Or maybe he'd check out my watch. Cheap. And jewelry. Cheap. And then smack my hand away. The caviar was for the guests who'd bought entire tables and invited a dozen rich, famous friends. By the time a picked-over tray had limped past me, every last micro-fish egg was gone, and the soggy pastry cups exuded a pinkish salmon paste. The waiter's smile had been superior and triumphantly bitchy. I'd smiled and shaken my head no, my Barbie wig shifting a little on my head. Thanks, but no thanks. At the very least, I would have been sent away somewhere for psychiatric observation. The judge would have been right. I was temporarily out of my mind. So what if I'd spent 40 years being sane, holding down a job, paying rent, having boyfriends, then not having boyfriends, taking care of my cats, one cat at a time, nursing them in their final illnesses, nursing my parents in their final illnesses, living a life. Not drunk in a gutter, not in a psychiatric unit, not a crack whore. I get credit for that, considering. Still, I must have been crazy after all those years to poison the partly guilty person instead of the really guilty person. Of course, I had a good excuse. The really guilty person was dead. A good excuse. Not a great one. Welcome to the annual Woman of the Year Gala benefit. Why, thank you. Great to be here. The long, narrow restaurant was jammed full of women swimming in slow-mo through a body temperature sea of perfumes so expensive that the scents weren't competing, though the women certainly were. Who was the most famous, the prettiest, the best dressed, the most respected for her talent, career, and good works? Mirror, mirror on the wall, who donated the most money from her women-only hedge fund to an all-women company developing renewable energy options? It was an A-list crowd of women so famous that even I recognized them. So famous that looking around was like paging through a magazine you'd read if you could afford an $800 haircut instead of the YouTube video of a 14-year-old telling you how to cut the perfect bangs that she definitely did not cut herself. There was Chief Justice Sonia Sotomayor with Laurie Anderson, Susan Sarandon, and Miley Cyrus. And what was Gwyneth Paltrow whispering to Zadie Smith? I don't remember who sat at my table. I didn't recognize any of them. The Z-list guests couldn't look at each other. I'd thought I was above all that because I was on a secret mission. Then why did I feel like I'd swallowed an ice cube? My back and shoulders were so frozen solid I couldn't turn my head. If I'd tried to smile, "Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Miranda DeWitt, and you are?" My face would have shattered like glass. For starters, I'm not Miranda DeWitt. I was sure that everyone was looking at me, except that no one was looking at me, which, for the women in that room, was worse than everyone looking at them. They wanted everyone looking at them. That was the point. How would I start a conversation? Are you a fan of Holly's? Of, this year's Woman of the Year? Oh, I see. They gave out extra tickets to this dinner at your office? And me? Oh, I've known Holly forever. Holly and I are friends from college. The first part of the evening went okay. I dressed up. In costume. The costume of a woman with money, self-respect, and social position. I didn't really think Holly would recognize me, though I was vain enough to secretly think she might. I didn't think anyone would remember having seen me at the dinner. Dressing up was more of a magical thinking thing. I wanted to be someone else. Not me. Not Lorelei Green. Not Lorelei Green, Long Island-born college dropout, 40, currently unemployed, formerly an underpaid, overworked human resources counselor. The giver of pink slips. The wisher of goodbye and good luck. I'd spent years inflicting and observing unemployment pain I could do nothing about. I hated firing people. I told myself I was making a bad experience less painful. Also, I needed a job. Every so often, I applied for other jobs and didn't get them and gave up too soon. Bookstores didn't pay enough, nor did movie concession stands.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.